What's up, you bloodthirsty warriors? Jack Moves here, Jack Chats Podcast, second episode. Subscribe via YouTube, SoundCloud, or iTunes if you haven't yet. Today I'm speaking with Mike Crossley of the band Sago and founder of vinyl broker yokai.ca. It's worth checking out if you have any bands that are looking to get vinyl made. It's yokai, yokai.ca. Hit him up because he's one of you. He knows where you're coming from. I came to know Mike when he was playing bass in Villepens. They were a really important band for me at the time because they were more or less my entry point into the world of post or avant or hardcore influence, basically non-metal influenced metal. At the time I played in a metal band myself. Mike is one of the few guys I know who seems to be legitimately super stoked for other people's successes. He's lacking in pretense to a pretty profound degree, and I think as a result of that, he's got a great sense of humor. In another life, I think he could be at least a decent stand-up. To sum up all of that into a high school yearbook, he would be voted something like best dude to drink with. His love of podcast, his conversational skill, and appreciation for comedy all shine through in this conversation. And by the way, that whimpering you hear periodically is his attention-starved Boston Terrier, Pickles. What I should have done is started recording while we were talking. I did that with Steve.
Yeah, you get it going when
the other day, and we were in the middle of the conversation by the point I had started.
It's the natural intro, but it takes skills. It's hard to get good at that, right? You gotta like.
You know what the difference was like Steve had understood the record enable because he had gone through that himself with his own.
He's a veteran now, dude. How many episodes are there?
He has like over 200 episodes.
I'd sent him a text. I was like, "Congrats on 200, buddy." And that was like a while ago.
Yeah,
so.
he's beyond that. Say at 212 or 215, and the thing that I asked him that I was really impressed with was, I'm not surprised that he would take on a project like that, and I kind of, in my own head, I had it like, what, like, I was like, he's probably doing this because it's like he can't like go out and tour as much,
But he started it when they were going pretty hard, didn't he?
Well, his kid's like 3, right?
Oh yeah, maybe it started just around the time that Viv was gonna have a kid.
Yeah.
And then, okay, that makes sense, for sure.
So I
kind of like helps him stay in touch with people. Are we speculating here?
Oh, we're totally speculating.
Is this on the Steve episode? This is the episode where we talk about what I think might have happened on the Steve episode.
Dude, it doesn't stop me from doing it about everybody all the time. But I guess what I was gonna get at was one thing I really admire with Steve is that. Is that degree of consistency is very like every single week is most podcasts or most anything they try and they fail, right?
Like 90, like there's so many for sure. Like I said, I recorded 4 episodes. I did one like solo style that I actually put up. It was going to be called Free Dessert, and I had a logo and everything. I got a SoundCloud page.
You got a SoundCloud
Yeah, and it's a sick name, right? Like it had like a pie as the logo, and like it was like, but with like Brutal Truth font, and it said Free Dessert.
And why Free Dessert?
Because this is awesome. Like, there's not what's better than free dessert, man. It's like so
nice.
Good. It was a pie. And then I did one episode by myself, and then I did one with, so if anyone's listening that I did an episode with, and you're wondering why it never saw the light of day, it will never see the light of day because I don't want to edit it. Or maybe I'll give them the mic, and he can put them on the end of his podcast as exclusives.
A postscript.
A fucking exclusive.
You just got to listen to the first 2 hours, and then, dude, extra morsel with...
Have you checked out... oh my God.
Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. My favorite one right now is locally, like Canadian anyway, is Blink 155.
Okay.
And it's Josiah Hughes. He's like a music journalist out in Calgary. And Sam Sutherland, who's like, he like hosted the Junos, like Juno post interviews last night. But like he's a music journalist too. I used to work with them at Exclaim. I've known both those guys for quite a while, but they have a podcast where they analyze one Blink-182 song per episode. So that's a commitment to 155 episodes over the course of 3 years. And these are like dudes in their 30s. And it's not a serious podcast. Like it kind of is, but it's kind of not. Like they do analyze the song and like talk about each one, and it's everything from like the shittiest like B-sides to like the huge like boy band sounding smash hits and stuff like that. It's really fucking amazing. And it started with like this tightly edited sort of like 45-minute banger where they tried to actually talk about the songs. But now it's like this sprawling 3-hour epics where like they're watching videos of like a child bathing its like snake pet or stuff like that. Like it's just like.
But this ties in with Blink-182.
Kind of. Like it's amazing. Like it really is. It like the convo like branches off into like crazy shit, and mostly because this Josiah dude's like kind of an eccentric sort of character, but like it's really good.
Awesome.
It's fucking sweet. And I think they do that one over the phone.
Really? That's that's quite I feel like that's even more challenging. That must be a testament to their their rapport, their ability to carry a conversation.
Yeah, they're definitely buddies. Like you can tell they're not like old friends, but they have this really good back and forth where like Sam is sort of this like he's got like a really kind of affable normal guy personality, but he's like grew up with like punk rock and stuff, but he's like pretty like easygoing kind of level-headed dude. And then Josiah's this like sarcastic kind of like irony dude, but he's also like has moments of earnestness. I don't know. It's fucking great, man.
Yeah. Okay. And is this a weekly thing?
Yeah, it's weekly.
Okay.
Yeah. And Taggart and Torrens, that's the other one.
Jonathan Torrens,
J-Rock,
of course,
and
familiar.
the drummer from Our Lady Peace.
Oh.
They have a fucking good buddy podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right. That's because you're one of the. I have you in my head as one of the podcast like experts.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be because I've listened to like definitely like thousands and thousands of episodes of podcasts now. Pickles, what's up, buddy?
So what do you find characterizes, so we kind of know what a good podcast is. What do you characterize one that is not one that you'd revisit?
Something stuff that I don't like, anything that's like too a little too focused on like selling a concept or an idea. Like I keep trying to get into that like Tim Ferriss and like Aubrey Marcus shit where they're like talking about, like self-improvement and like stuff like that, but it just seems to like, I don't know, it just kind of creeps me out. Like I like humor and like earnestness in the podcast, and I like to be able to kind of relate to the person that is talking, because I generally am listening to this stuff on my own while I'm working, because you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, so I want it, it's almost like you're hanging out with or overhearing a conversation with people that you would want to spend time with. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where I like draw the line. If it's something, if the person's irritating or like there seems to be some kind of ulterior motive or know-it-all kind of like, here's how to fix your shit, or like just kind of like creeps me out a little bit. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Joe Rogan?
I think he's amazing. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says, but I'm
curious because he's one of only a handful of people who do attract both positive and negative attention, and honestly was kind of one of the as I was thinking about things I could do that I could just have more stuff, more content and stuff that could be cool, like a podcast or something. Like it was something that came to mind, and I was listening to a couple of his where it's like I just thought it was like very, it's just organic. I mean, also you realize how from the episodes I've checked out, like somebody is real adept at conversation in that room at all times, because they go for 3 hours straight. Yeah,
well, I mean, the dude is a professional talker. Like he announces for UFC. He's a stand-up comedian, and then his other thing is his podcast. So he's just he's like a master talker, like conversationalist, or like he knows how to engage people, and like definitely don't like. He has like shifting political views and stuff like that, and like to attract controversy, but I think that's why people watch him, and like but it's why some people watch him. But yeah, I just think it's amazing. Like he's just the guests are really good, and he's good at keeping the convo rolling, and like I've listened to hundreds of episodes of that, man. So but like yeah, it's kind of cool to see what you're saying, like you can bring a podcast into almost anything that you do. You can add that as like an element now. So it's like Jack Moves is like, it's like shows and records, and you know, like it's this social media presence, it's this like artwork that Lou does and stuff like that. And then like if there's like a verbal aspect to it where like it all ties together, like it helps it out.
I think it's it's part of like a really, the door is wide open into the personal story. It's almost you can't really get anywhere unless people have some kind of a stake in what you're all about.
Yeah, man, like people want to know. Yeah, they want to know what you're about for sure. Like I don't know if mystery is like I mean
in
much
certain
of a selling point now for certain shit. Like it's just, I mean it could be, but people want to see the behind the scenes stuff, and they want, like, people are hungry for just, it seems, for just like insight. Like they want to know what they're getting into, right? Especially I think I don't know, this might be a leap, but like there's some examples of shit. Okay, so like Seven Sisters of Sleep and Young and in the Way. These are two bands that like had kick-ass records around the same time. A bunch of us all kind of got into these guys. They had this really mysterious kind of vibe about them. They didn't have any like interviews up. There was nothing. There was just illustration. You don't even find press photos. Certainly not a fucking podcast. But it was cool, like the mystery behind it. And then you're like, this is heavy and it's creepy. And then like a few years later, now like both of those bands have been like busted for just being horrible people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's like, I think there's that thing where it's like, okay, I think I like this, but like I want to know who's behind it.
Yeah.
I want to know who's behind it so that like I can.
Maybe he hangs out with me.
I can like. Yeah, I can. You can just get more invested in it without that, like. I think that mystery's not as much of a selling point anymore, but who knows, man?
I mean, that's another thing too. Is like, I don't know if that's at all wrapped up into the idea of personal politics. Like basically, all of my every idol you can think of, I think is is a racist or
totally.
Killed someone or whatever. I don't know. Like that was like
just killed a bunch of racists.
the Phil Anselmo thing. Like Pantera is my favorite band of all time.
Yeah.
And it had been like, I think that they were benefited as the last generation of bands that was able to like not have every second of their lives filmed. Although they honestly kind of contributed to that kind of culture by doing their home videos. Yeah.
Those vids were like that was
one of the best things they ever did. I think
that was like no one was doing shit like that really. Like there was maybe a few artists that were like,
not the home vids, no.
But that was like you felt like you kind of knew them.
And man, that was like,
pickles.
If this will keep you quiet, which I'm sure it won't, then, it's, come to think of it, it was like the four, I knew all four dudes' personalities. It was like the same as like, am I a John Lennon guy or am I a Paul McCartney guy,
Totally.
Like it's the same.
Yeah, it goes
kind of
goes
engagement.
Beyond just like being a fan of the record. Then you're like, no, I really like Dimebag.
Yeah.
And then like, because I'm a guitar player, and he kind of reminds me of like this guy that I know, or like, you feel like connected to it in some way. Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's.
Fuck yeah.
What was I gonna say? Oh, maybe I'm reaching because I feel like, again, because I've mentioned Joe Rogan, it's like a lot of times I think it's like podcasts. I will say that what I've seemed to notice from what I've checked out of Joe Rogan, his like hot button political issues seem to stop at like So what's the your man, your woman? It's like that again and again and again. I feel like, you know, like he's really on the gender tip.
Yeah.
But not wanting to get into that, but I guess just it's almost like I tie politics into these you know, sorts of podcasting conversations. So I may have read into you saying like we want to know what we're getting into when we check out an artist or something like that. As in like what's their stance on abortion anyway?
Oh yeah. Not so much that. I think I maybe took it like a little too far. Like it was a bad example, like using like are these guys creepers? But yeah, I think it was just in general like if people can know a little bit more, you know, get a little bit of that Pantera home videos, glimpse into like what an artist is doing, it helps them to engage with it a little bit more. Like, you know, if I didn't know you and I just saw you like fucking, you know, a picture of you bartending with a wolf mask on, and then you're like doing all these beats on an RC, and like,
what does this mean?
Like, what the fuck is going on here? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, he kind of looks metal, but he's like kind of a rap guy, or like, I don't know. It was just like.
And that's a real struggle. It always has been for me, and I'm sure for everybody, to personalize, to make it bite-sized, whatever it is you're about.
Yeah, totally.
Because, you know, no band, when you ask someone who plays in a band and you ask them, you know, you're at a party with a bunch of your work friends, and one of your work friends is like...
Pipe down, bud.
One of your work friends is like... it's okay. You know, he's like, so what do you guys sound like? And you're like, okay, I'm going to gauge this guy based on what he's wearing and sort of how he's talking. How
totally
do I just say I sound like Metallica if I'm a metal band and just like, you know, leave it at that? Or can we get more deep? Can I, you know, like, but how do you encapsulate it? I guess my point is it's never, no one wants to have to give the elevator pitch.
No, it's true.
So I guess here's what the immediate question that came to my mind was I
want people to see the dog is torturing Mike right now. He's got his body draped over
and
his
he's
leg,
like
and he's
licking
the couch.
a part of the couch.
Yeah.
What was my question? Oh yeah. So I used to think it was like a little bit arbitrary, like band photos were a little bit arbitrary, like or comedian photos, what have you, like any kind of public personality, because you need to
try to capture the essence.
Like how much do you think like a promo photo tells about any public figure?
Nothing, man. Nothing at all. Like, I don't know what that is. Like,
I mean, like
no one's. We're looking at a picture of Face to Face, like the punk band, on my screen right now, and it's just four dudes standing in there with t-shirts, and like that band could sound like anything, and each one of those dudes has their own, you know, they're probably their own personal style or whatever, and like, yeah, I don't know if a press photo can do what it used to. I think, like, if you think back to, fuck, man, like, opening up a Slayer record when you're a kid, and then you see these, like, guys, like, with beers and crazy, like, crazy looks on their faces, and they've got the fucking hair, and you're like, oh, shit, these guys are here to party. Like, but it's like an evil party. Like, you can,
you
know, like,
I know exactly,
you can kind of tell, but I think it, like, just, like, culture is so spread out now, and everyone's kind of got a little bit of influence from lots of different things, that it's like, especially visually, it's really hard to represent it. Like, what modern acts do you know that are like, there's a few. I kind of stopped myself there because there's like thrash bands. Like, if you see fucking a picture of Municipal Waste, you know what's up.
Again, party, not evil party. Like, Municipal Waste is like good intention party.
Good intention, but yeah, maybe like drink too many beers party.
You might injure your friend, but it's like in a friendly way. You know, you were drunk and everyone has a laugh or something.
But like most shit, I'm trying to find something modern. You know, like with a press photo. There you go.
Oh, that's a
It's like,
enabler.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
it's like, what do they do? I don't know. Another guy like play music, I guess. That could be like.
I was looking at the shit, and I was like different photos of acts, and it's like, I mean, there's a lot. People pay a lot of money to get those press photos done.
Yeah.
I'm just like, something I'm conscious of as an artist is, or trying to improve is making it more easy to interpret when I don't even necessarily feel it's easy to interpret in the first place anyway.
Yeah, you want to like. Oh, dude, this looks so funny.
I got like my head's like coming out of the couch. Okay, there we go. It's more me. I mean, I wanted to get both. I wanted my audience to.
Someone's
shit.
calling me. Didn't do that. Oh yeah, I gotta take this. All right, let's pause.
If Mark was here, Mark, if you were not quite far away in Iqaluit, I would most definitely have you on for this. So for anyone who's watching either of these, I'm Mike. We have 2 live streams going on. If you want to see, so if you're watching this one and you want to see like what it looks like a little bit lower, looking up, you go on to Mike
really
Crossley,
great view.
Oat Soda. And then if you're watching this one and you want to get a little bit of a higher view, you go to Jack Moves Official. This is part of the podcast that I'm recording. So so we were talking about the about
how to
present oneself, and I mean, yeah, I guess like what would you have you used this in your own? Because I don't want to make this just about me.
Yeah.
But like, how have you done it? And then sub question, what would you do in my case where you've got a pretty good idea of what I do? So
Yeah, for sure. I watch all your vids, and like I definitely know what's up in the Jack Moves world. I try to distill things as much as I can. I mean, Sego is easy. Like that one's easy because it's like this is like 5 buddies that have a hardcore punk band, and we're like in our 30s, and we're like or late 20s or whatever.
Right.
And so it's like it's black and white, and it's high contrasts, and it's pictures of pissed off animals, right, and like distressed text, and like we're not trying to do anything visually. How we present it is like bare bones. We just want people to know that if you like punk rock, if you like hardcore punk, you're gonna like this, and then listen to the music. It's like, oh, this is kind of cool or different or whatever. But also, there's not really any effort to like. On the business side of things with that, it really is just a personal outlet and something super fun to do. Like other than like fundraise, like we do the motive to grow it is so we can get more people out for like shit like fundraisers and like,
right,
or just have like Buck house shows or whatever. But like,
well, that's what you were, because you were when you talked with Steve, I listened to it when you guys were talking about that. Yeah,
it's like but that is the how that is encapsulated. But like with like me overall, like what I'm trying to do, because everyone's got to have their quote unquote personal brand, is just like music everything. So that's like way too broad, and it's not super effective, but it's the best that I've been able to do. So where it's like music manufacturing, design for posters, we did Snake Appeal for a while. I play in bands. Like it's like all music everything,
right.
Like that's kind of my my MO, and then like that's why my Instagram is all just like me spinning my records, or like like fucking around with my dog with some music going on in the background, like it's so that kind of thing. But it's like I'm no marketing genius, man. I don't really know. Like it's really really hard, and like how do you present that to people in a moment, with them seeing one thing? It's almost impossible. That's right. Why, but I think people are more willing now to like. If something that you put in the world catches their eye, they're more willing to like take a little peek into it and like, whoa, this guy's got a podcast, or this guy's got he also does this like hosts this night at this thing or whatever, it's just more multifaceted.
They call it in marketing terms, they call it the funnel. Whatever you're like, where's the biggest probably referral? Where do people see your thing first? Maybe like the website, maybe.
Yeah, like
for Yokai.
Yeah, for Yokai, it's that's like a lot of it's just Google.
Do you pay for ads?
No, we don't. We just have a pretty good Google ranking. Like our Mike Westuba from he was in 68 Porno Mags, but like 3 Impotent Males. That guy, he's our production manager, and he was the production manager at Firebrand and MMS.
Right.
So he was able to like take a lot of what was going on in MMS and kind of like shift it. So there's people that will hit him up, and then that turns into business. Or like we changed the Google listing for MMS to like yokai, so there's like
okay.
Yeah, so there's like a little bit of business comes in that way. But like mostly it's that, and then like word of mouth, like all the stuff that we work on that's like it's a lot of it's just people we know or people that know the people we know, right? So, and we're not doing massive amounts of stuff, like it's all like this, like we want to make sure the service is really good, so it's like we're doing like a reasonable amount of shit, but it's all kind of like I don't know, there's growth there, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's
well,
like,
have you like I guess I'm thinking like looking at things in terms of you as being like, have you ever thought of, or do you cover, let's say something like this newspaper article says that vinyl sales is up 10% since last year.
Yeah.
And then you're like, see, big success. By the way, here's 1 million hashtags for Discovery and maybe omit that last thing.
Right,
but
right. Yeah.
Things that are related, and seeing yourself as like, what's the great big experience behind it, you being part of something. Like 2 people I can think of who are really good at this that I've seen over time is Kat and Kelly are really good at this, by the way, with the Instagram page.
They're so good at Instagram, dude.
And they do it the way you're supposed to, which is where
the timing's good.
It's about other people.
Things. Yeah.
It's about other people. It's like, okay, we're associated with these people, but this is a photo from a fashion show where their piece is being presented. It's mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
And then my friend Dana, who's she's like a synthwave artist.
Mm-hmm.
Dana Jean Phoenix. She's in Europe right now.
Sweet.
It's like, I don't think I would ever want to do this, but like she said the best thing she ever did was like align herself with a named like style movement. So synthwave is basically, I think in her words, is like kind of like a John Hughes movie soundtrack.
Totally.
So it's like this, it's everything retro. Like
Yeah.
I think the last show that I saw that she played, it was like in Stockholm, and it was called like VHS Forever. So these people have like
Totally.
It's the same thing as
Dundas Video on Dundas Street. That bar is like a synthwave vibe to the bar.
Yeah,
the
you're
logo, like it's like VHS, retro gaming, kind of like they have like
the fact that it's called fucking
Dundas
Dundas
it's called
Video.
Dundas Video. Like it's just that's a really cool aesthetic, and for sure if you're on that tip and like you're part of like a modern sound, and you're aligned with like a movement that's going on, then hell yeah, you definitely want to like get on board with that, or you'll just like, I think I have a lot of respect for somebody who can be like really steadfast in wanting to be independent and do their own thing. Like, you can't put me in a box kind of thing, like Open Mike Eagle or something like that. But like, it's just, at the end of the day, these are just qualifiers. They're like journalistic terms for people to understand what you're doing. So it's an entry point, right?
Right.
Yeah. So like, aligning is really good. But yeah, I think I don't know. I really rely a lot personally on just a lot of years of involvement and in music in Toronto, and like just my constant like need for socializing and kind of like being involved with a million things. Like even though they say like there's that kind of thing where it's like, find what you love and let it kill you or whatever, and you're supposed to like just pick one thing that you really love and just like just put the blinders on and grind at that. and then that's the only way you can truly be like successful, happy. I kind of think that's bullshit.
I hope it is.
Yeah, I kind of think that's bullshit because I really like, you know, like I was saying earlier, like shit's going pretty decent now, and I can see upward motion. I'm like, oh, okay, like, you know, if I keep doing a bit every day of growing like the CD and vinyl manufacturing and the design stuff and like these different bands I'm playing in or whatever, like me and Jesse maybe we'll start doing DJ nights again, like all that kind of shit. They all kind of work like symbiotically and grow that way. And I kind of, yeah, that's what satisfies me because it gives me variety, and it's just grown from a lot of years of like just doing it because I love it. And so that's, hey, take it easy, guys. Sorry for listeners, that was the cat chasing the dog out of the room. But yeah, like I haven't, you know, even though I went to school for advertising and I like worked in marketing for so long, I'm kind of bad at marketing. Like I don't like.
So clearly, the thing that would kill you would not be marketing.
I just think
as
there's
the one thing you would do, it wouldn't be that.
No, I don't know. It's kind of odd, right? Like.
Well, there's
like
also
I seriously do think sometimes like when I do like an Instagram story of me making like a fucking chicken and then like cracking jokes or something like that, it helps my other shit that I'm doing. Like it might actually remind somebody to be like, oh fuck yeah, Crossley was supposed to do that poster.
No,
and they'll hit me up.
Yeah,
like it's weird, but it's just like I just kind of be myself as much as I can, and so that's probably the essence of it. Like Jack Moves is so you. Like that's so what you are. You're like this kind of eclectic dude with this appreciation for a variety of styles and this like immense musical skill set, and you kind of distill it into, you know, things for specific songs and like, you know, but you can't like what the fuck is Jack Moves? Like it's not, you can't say when people want to say like beatboxing, you know, it's like
no, because and also it's just like I'm always so the stuff the original material I've sort of made a move away from doing like live looping mainly cover videos. I haven't done that, and it's like I haven't done that in a little bit. So lately I've been producing. If I get the chance, I'll show you some shit I've been doing because I'm like pretty stoked on it.
But I mean, that was kind of the stem. That was the thing that grabbed everybody.
And then it was like
he's doing this live looping shit, and everyone's like, "Holy fuck, that's a guy's voice."
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's really what grabbed it. But now you start to expand,
which is like what the only way that it could possibly go. For me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make it easy when when someone asks, "You still up to that?" and you're like, "Nope." Here's something completely different from that other thing. You might not even like it anymore.
Yeah, that's fucking hard.
Because you probably aren't as open-minded as I am. Yeah. You don't spend as much time in this world as I do.
Yeah.
Put it that way. So it makes it. That's one like as a dude who's been doing it for so long. I hope that one of the things that can work to my favor is like somebody was saying, like, because I still record like mixtapes and things like that. I got another one that's gonna come out in a few months or something. It's gonna be the Peterborough tape. I'm gonna play one of Carl's like shows out in Peterborough when he does one, and it's gonna call it the Peterborough tape.
Sick.
So it's
like Peterborough tracks. Artists on it and shit like that, or what?
No. I probably will do a little bit of collaborative.
Gotta get a Garbage Face feature on there.
I should.
Yeah.
It's but as of right now, no. It's just something that I'm gonna like put out for the show or something.
Yeah.
It was just an excuse for me to like MC or something. It was like literally a conversation I had with Carl, and I was like, dude, I'm gonna make a tape.
Yeah.
And like often I say that like kind of like bullshitting, but then I'm just kind of like, that'd be easy enough to do. What do I have to do that? It's like, oh fuck, we could do that in like a week.
Totally. And then then you associate it with like a show and a town, and then it, you know, it's.
But then it'll also be content. Art becoming content. It's like some rapper said that in one of his rhymes, and I thought it was fucking like one of the most like brilliant things. But I don't know. Like, let's de-emphasize art for a minute.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a fucking like like a half liter of milk poured onto like a saucer with a photo taken of it, and like you fuck up the exposure or something, that could be art. Totally. You know, and that's fucking could be stupid too.
Well, I crank out posters all day, and like most of them are for you know, relatively flash in the pan EDM artists.
Oh yeah.
That are, you know, or like, and or like I'll kind of make the local version of it with the art that's already done. And yeah, a lot of it is just like, one I did the other day was just it was like interior design photo. Mm-hmm. It was like a chair, you know, and like some stuff and like some smoke. And that was the art, you know, like it's very, but it's like I crank them out all day, like it's very disposable. It's very, very like on to the next thing, right? Like,
right.
Yeah, people don't want to, and a lot of times, yeah, I think there's a line there somewhere between like, if you've spent a bunch of time on something.
Pause due to poor connection.
Oh no!
That's okay. I wasn't even planning on. Sure. I'll share that, and then keep talking. Though.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like, I don't know. Did Warhol like fuck us up? I don't know what happened, man. But there's some like really, a lot of just slapped together disposable art, you know. But it's like, that's kind of what I think of as like content, you know. It's like if you're consistently required to make something in order to engage people, you may not be putting like the perfect finishing touches on everything that you put out, right? You're just creating it so that it's out there for people to engage with for a little bit and then probably cast aside. The good thing about digital, at least, is like, we're not throwing it in the ocean, but like when you know, it's like
it'll always be there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think like I think in like hip hop terms, to me it's like once Lil Wayne started doing the mixtapes like twice a year, and I've heard some of that material and some of that shit. It's just like, ooh, there was like no auditing committee on this shit at all.
No, he's
like,
just on lean.
Shit out.
He's just on lean talking.
And they're like, streets want more. Get it out.
Get it out. Sure, for sure. Just make some.
Record it in your hotel room.
What beats do you have? Do you have any beats? Calling up people. Hey, I need 3 more beats for this. Yeah, there's one. Cool.
Yeah.
Fucking, I am an alien. Yeah, whatever. Fucking cool.
Yeah, and it's a thing now apparently with Spotify streams. They call it stream trolling, where somebody like, I don't know if you know Ray Sremmurd, like a new rap duo. Like, I think they're coming out with like a triple album.
Yeah, you put more tracks.
You put more tracks, more streams, more money.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fucking... But the crazy part about that is that there isn't like total backlash. Sorry, I'm just watching, and there's like, it's just really funny because there's no one in my room right now. It's like one of those times when you play a show and there's no one there.
I wouldn't know, man. I've never... Every show is fucking buck wild, dude.
I know, right? Yeah, you're very humble about that. Just like constant.
Yeah,
but the thing is that people will. What I was getting at was that people will consume it still.
Yeah, totally, for sure.
Like I mean, fuck. Am I like I don't consider myself that different from anyone else. So it's like, what behavior do I exhibit? Yeah. That is comparable to that.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely, because it is the disposable nature of and the access that we have, like with that $10 a month thing that you just pay for Spotify, and you have access to all this shit, and especially hip hop. It's like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna keep up on a lot of stuff that I maybe wouldn't otherwise because it's there, you know. So, like, for sure, it's like, why is everyone talking about Migos, you know? And then I get the record, and I'm like, oh yeah, I think I like this. Like, I don't know. It's like, it's just there, right? So you're gonna check it out if it's there.
You think it's like kind of like back in like say the 80s or something, where, you know, if we were watching TV, it would be like, well, let's watch MASH because it's on.
It's on. Totally. Yeah, that's how I feel when I put Migos on. I'm like, Everyone likes this, right? Fuck yeah.
It's got a lot of streams. Great.
Yeah, for sure. And then, but it's cool. You can go deep with it too, right? Like most of my list of downloaded stuff is like, I'll be at a band practice and somebody will be like, dude, have you heard this thing? I'm like, I have no idea what that is, but put it on there, and then the next day, you have new music. So like, and I feel like that's like a really authentic and like kind of personal way to interact with it, right? Like it's like you're literally taking recommendations like you would from like the record store guy in the 90s.
Yes.
But you're just but there's no monetary commitment. You just hit click download and then it's there.
I think overall it's a better experience. I think it's improved my experience and my way of communing with music.
I listen to so much different shit. I every day, like, I'm so happy to have the access to that.
Yeah.
Like it really is fucking mind blowing and incredible. And like I can understand the frustration from an artist standpoint if that's your source of income, where like you can't really sell physical media the way that you used to, and so it's cutting into your bottom line or whatever. I do understand that, but I've never been in that position, so it's hard for me to really get my head around it. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, I think it also kind of bolsters live music too. Like I can think of, okay, so I'm gonna go see this band called Khruangbin. I can't remember how
that sounds like a name backwards. I know,
I read it backwards, but it's still whack. Like, I don't know how to read it. Like, it's a weird word. But they're, like, so fucking good. And I like, made the poster of it and was like, that's a weird name. And I liked the press photo. Mm-hmm. And then I just put it on Spotify, and I'm like, oh, my God, this is fucking amazing. And now I'm going to the show. Right. Like, I would probably not have gone. And, yeah.
Now, what was it about the photo, to go back to an earlier thing, that stood out for you?
That's true. They looked really cool. They look really cool.
So what's cool for Mike these days?
I think they looked like they didn't fit into any kind of predetermined paradigm, which I liked. They were like wearing like kind of clothes that I picture people in like South America would wear or something. Like, I think they might be from South America.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm not totally sure, but this is secondary entertainment.
We got the value added for anybody who's watching the live stream.
Like, I don't know. There's just something about the way they're dressed. I was like, they don't look like anyone I know.
Okay.
Like, that's super cool. And then one of them was holding their SG, like, in the picture.
That's kind of daring for like a band photo,
right? Because like that's some
shit out of like the
corny,
60s
right?
Or something.
Yeah, like the Sonics or something. Like, where are the Sonics? You know. But she was just like holding this like SG, like just kind of like here, and like they're on a hill or something. The colors were sick. They had like the like art for the poster was like cows in a field with this really sick gradient sunset thing. I don't know, it just looks so cool. Cat just took a major wipe out. So yeah, I don't know, it just like grabbed my attention. And then but you know, would I have, like, you got to ask yourself, like, would you during the days when you would just buy CDs and shit like that, like, would you go into the store and be like, I'm gonna get this disc because I saw this poster on the street? Or like,
I think that would be like an extraordinary draw if you felt that strongly.
Yeah, I would. But because the level of commitment's the level of commitment's so low, I just pop it on there, and now I'm like, oh my God, this is like my new favorite thing to like drive a car to. Like, it's just so good, right? So yeah, there's like it helps in that way, to just like be able to have access to it for sure.
I think that that's the one thing I was like thinking I wanted to mention to you, in preparation for this back and forth was something that you said probably, geez, like, I don't know, like a year or two ago. I remember I was sitting we were talking, and you said at a certain point somebody was talking to you about like I don't know, something like partying or some shit like that, and like they're over it now or something. And your response I really liked. Your response was like, I don't think that I'm necessarily done with anything.
yeah.
And not exactly those words, but that, just like, just saying like, I don't know, man, if the air is a certain way that day, maybe,
yeah, for sure.
Whatever. Maybe I'll.
I like leaving myself open to things for sure. Like, I don't think it's unless you have like a really bad habit and it's something that you need to like hardline like change in order to like move along in your life.
Sure.
Then yeah, okay, be like, I don't do this anymore, or I don't like that anymore, or whatever. Like, it could be anything from like being obsessed with conspiracy theory to like, like whatever, drugs, like who knows, like whatever the thing is. Like, yeah, you get some things you got to shut her down. Smoking darts, like I should probably stop doing that, But like, yeah, overall, I think it's just good to realize that you're gonna change and life's gonna change and evolve as time goes on, and you can't really predict shit. So to like just set up like a bunch of rules for yourself in order to like appear a certain way or something like that, like. It's just kind of weird, yeah, for sure. It was like, what was it? Somebody was like, I don't fuck with rap anymore or something like that.
Well, no, it was about
like rap's not good nowadays. So
I think it was relating to partying. Maybe like drugs in particular.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right.
But
I don't party anymore.
I don't know. I just when I say partying, I just feel like it's that it's like Hannibal Buress talking about like.
As soon as I hear partying, I was just like immediately I'm like doing cocaine. That's what you're talking about.
Exactly. Well, that's that Hannibal bit, right? Where he's like, if we're gonna smoke weed, like, oh, we'll go around and smoke weed. If you're gonna do coke, he's like, hey, you want to party?
Yeah, totally.
And yeah, it's absolutely that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but like whether it be doing cocaine or whatever else, it's like. I feel as though, and this is something I said to Steve when I was talking to him, I tend, first of all, I try not to label myself in general, although that's exactly what I'm doing right now.
Well, I think that's the kind of what we're getting, like we're trying to figure out if you have a really wide kind of range of things that you're interested in and that you do and that you put out into the world, how do you package that?
Yeah,
like that's kind of where we're going.
Well, you can't you're selling yourself short in doing that. It's necessary.
Yeah,
like it's necessary to use certain terms, like the benefit of synthwave or any other word that has meaning packed within it is you can just say that one thing as opposed to you having to construct a melange. Like when I would describe like Godstopper to people, it would be like, I'd be like, it's like heavy, but like I don't want you to think metal because that's going to make you think something else.
Now you've already said like 15 words and you've already lost them.
Yeah, they're
right?
just they're like, man, I was just asking out of politeness. They don't really, and then it's like, well, it's like got some like it's like kind of melodic and it's got like some alternative stuff in it. And I say like, like Sonic Youth, like the most popular alternative band ever.
Yeah.
I'd never listened to them, but it's like kind of got an element of that.
It's like what I think that band probably sounds like or something.
Yeah.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah.
So it's like, so the benefit of just being able to be like, oh, it's doom pop.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Totally.
If
it helps people understand.
It's like so effective. It's like 2 syllables and you're like, and you're set. And people, but I also feel that that's, like when you do, like, does Sago sound like a particular hardcore band?
I think,
or like say like 3?
Yeah, it sounds like 3 or like I don't know. It's weird to say when you make the music because you're like, I guess I'm just wondering because like, sounds like 20, but like
I'm not going in like when I make stuff. I'm not going in consciously being like I want to shift the paradigm and stuff like that.
Yeah. But like how do you become the Sonic Youth of like how do you present something completely original in 2018 and become like
I mean, you don't.
You don't.
That doesn't. I mean, I don't even think back in the day you did necessarily.
No. Yeah.
I mean, I think that everything, like the everything just revolves around a big bouquet of influences, and the more of those you have, the more to your benefit you have of whatever you're presenting being original. But by the same token, there are people who, it just kind of like when I book places in Europe, for example.
Yeah.
In Europe, they seem like real particular about. They're like we listened to your music. It was very good, but we are more of a synth goth club. We are more of a deep house club.
Right. Real specific.
Super specific. So some people, it's like that's kind of what they want.
Yeah.
Is that one thing? And I guess I don't totally relate to that. And I don't doubt people's sincerity.
Yeah.
But I guess what I'm saying is like it seems like with Sego, you're not trying, like it's clear what you're doing. I know you're not making tunes being like, hey, let's make this, let's take this tragedy riff.
Yeah.
I was gonna say tragedy like I was pulling it out of the air.
Yeah.
Wearing the t-shirt. Yeah. This tragedy riff and like change a few notes. So that'll be sick. It'll be sick and it'll be ours. That'll be sweet.
Right.
You're not doing that.
That's like a high school move, right?
But like
when you're trying to learn how to play.
Well, you don't
music,
even know how to
do
like
that.
write a song.
Yeah, you don't know how to write songs. You just use someone else's song, but like change it a little bit so you can and like.
But I guess I'm really conscious of like I was showing a buddy of mine my tunes and just like I literally talked to a bunch of people and I was like, what do you think this sounds like? For exactly this reason that we were talking about. What is this sound? How do you describe this? And my friend said, sort of to my chagrin, said progressive. And I was like, oh, it's the worst thing you could have said. Progressive sucks. It's like the least cool genre. But his explanation made sense. It was like, the least cool genre, let's just get this out of the way. Least cool genre, progressive. Most cool genre, noise rock. I think. And,
is noise super cool?
Yeah, because you don't fucking care enough to like really like, perfect your craft. You got a little bit of that like kind of 90s fuck everybody thing. Like we're not fucking rock stars.
Yeah, true.
And
I just picture like people that don't shower enough. that's
it's like, but it's not punk. But like they come from punk. Like they used to play in punk bands,
but like they were so tired of the sound,
just
of
the
drums,
bullshit, or
the scene bullshit or something.
And then they started like listening to blues, like like old blues, and it was like just some shit like that.
And they sampled this one like disharmonic fucking like thing that some so-and-so's guitar did and dragged it out to like 10 BPM or
like the whole
like,
song is just man, if you listen to like what's that Beatles song, Revolution Number 9?
Is it on White Album?
Yeah, it's on White Album.
Yeah,
I listened to the White Album all the way through, probably for the first time ever, like a month or so ago.
Yeah.
That's like an insane album.
Oh, buddy.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to ever say that.
Yo, you heard the Beatles, bro? That's just fucking crazy.
The White Album? Dude, so it's like an all-white cover.
First off, trippy, right? You don't even know what you're getting into, man. Yeah, you do. They released like a couple albums before that.
But it's got like, every facet. It's like all came together on that record.
Yeah,
it's insane.
Really insane. It is totally crazy.
Like you've got like the proto, like some people think that Helter Skelter kind of like broad, it like got people thinking about like punk kind of sounds. Like the intro to Helter Skelter is pretty fucking raw and pretty heavy, and then it's like, and then Blackbird right after it, and then
which is kind of like a socio-political kind of jam, right? Like Blackbird. Yeah, isn't it? It's
I don't think it's about. Is it?
Yeah, I thought it. Yeah,
socio-political.
Yeah, like I think it's like the lyrics have to do with like slavery and like the
lyrics are so general. The blackbird fly. It's just acoustic guitar and singing.
Yeah, but there's a whole bunch of like there's some shit. I don't know. It's what I've been told.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Take another peek at it. But anyway, regardless, that record does have like
Revolution Number 9. It's like I don't know the significance of it. I'm sure it's been thoroughly explained as every Beatles thing has been explained.
Yeah.
But like, it's just like a bunch of like tape loops and shit. And man, it's cool. And I don't even remember what the point of that was to talk about it. But
noise rock.
Yeah, noise rock.
Noise. Not noise rock, but noise.
Yeah. Well, anyway. That was a total tangent. I remember I just wanted to say that to say that. But prior to that, what the fuck was I saying? What was I saying?
We were going on talking about a vast range of influences, ideas, how to distill them, how to present them in a singular kind of form, or be like, how to is it worthwhile to associate yourself with a wave of something relevant that's going on
if you
time,
can. And I guess it was with my friend was saying it sounded progressive. What I was
that's right. And you're like, like prog.
Yeah, I was like,
progressive. Progressive.
But he doesn't. I don't think he has that kind of like same mentality towards prog.
Right.
But he what was I gonna say?
Just trying to like.
He was the prog. He explained it as, the reason why I said prog is because every element in there, like if you were to look at my MIDI drum rack and you see like the shaker part, like there was some point back there when I was writing that tune where like for an hour or something that I'm like testing it out, like no, get rid of that one, that second 16th note shaker. That's like I'm thinking about like balancing and stuff. And he's right. So in that sense, he's right. Nothing was just like tossed in place. Like
you're a pretty meticulous. You're a pretty meticulous writer. Like, so like that's kind of how you roll with a lot of shit that I've noticed. It's like you're not a. You don't rely on repetition to engage people with your music, which is cool. Like, and so in that way, it is kind of like what people think of as progressive in that kind of like that way. But I mean, is being meticulous about rhythms and and that's stuff, is that really prog? No, but that's what people think of, right?
I think that's just he was just, I guess he just meant that like if it was pop music, because I was kind of almost hoping it's a bit odd because there is like a pop music.
What did you show him?
Denomination. I showed him Demonized for sure.
Yeah,
you know that one?
Yeah.
It's like, like 80s kind of, to me. It's like, it was like I was kind of like trying to sound like Corey Hart without really knowing Corey Hart or listening to it that much.
Yeah.
And then putting a couple like rap verses in there.
Yeah, it's sick. I really like it.
And I thought it was like kind of like synthy, like pop music or something.
Yeah.
Recognizing that it's kind of odd. It's like a contradiction in terms that, for indie artists, like if you want to put your shit up on iTunes or whatever, one of the stylistic ones you can choose is pop, which is fucking. Doesn't that seem weird that you can choose pop?
Yeah.
If you're not popular.
Yeah.
It's like pop is as a sound as opposed to as a denomination of what popular actually means.
It's true. I know what it is though. For
sure.
I
know what it is.
Yeah.
But it's like it's aspirational.
Yeah. It is.
But even if it's not popular, it aspires to be that.
Yeah. It really needs to fit within the box of like what is happening right now with popular music. Like I think that's what. So it's like like Huey Lewis in the News was probably pop at one point.
Right.
That would have been in that like pop genre if Spotify existed in like 89.
So if we did if we made a Huey Lewis in the News album now, it would be like retro
pop.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. And I get, but they're journalistic terms and qualifiers of ways for people to kind of quantify things so they can understand what they want to get into, right? Like that's why I love those recommended, if you like, RIYL on the cover of an
Metal
album.
Records are big on that too.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely gonna bust that out with the new Sego thing. It's like, okay, and you have to get those opinions from other people. Like you can't, as the artist, be like, yeah, we sound like this, and this. You can hand it to people and hope that they can identify those influences, but it's all going to be based on what they generally listen to, and they're going to pick out things that are like, oh, this this element from Zeke, and then this element from Tragedy, and like whatever.
No, absolutely,
like that kind of thing. But if you bounce it off enough people, then you'll get this cool little cross section of what
little
like public thing that you sound
where
like the Venn diagram, not the Venn diagram, but those things. And then then it can really help people to kind of narrow it down, and it's like people just want to have something to associate shit with, like a familiarity. And when I say people, I mean including myself. Like if someone says check this out. You know, it's called Iskra, and I'll be like, cool. Like, I probably won't, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, oh, it sounds like you know that band, like Absolute, you know, from Toronto, like,
and you have immediately good associations with
and you
that.
like that. It sounds like that, only with like elements of you know, like this kind of crust or something. Like, cool, you know, you start kind of like, you associate it with something, and then these images start to pop into your head of like bullet belts and like black album covers and or whatever it is that you like is floating your boat at that particular time. And then you want to get into it. So I think it's just like that kind of thing. Like like Jack Moves. When I think of Jack Moves, I think of like Pink, like hot Pink.
Okay, well, it's done its job then. That was on purpose.
So definitely keep that. You know, like just that wolf imagery is really cool. And then not knowing. Well, I think this it kind of draws you in with its like. It's a little bit mysterious, and then there'll be like a still of like you, and it's like, who's this guy? You know, like, I know who that guy is,
right?
But you're like, why is it this guy? Like, what's the wolf? And then you're like, you know, you're just a dude. Like, you're not like wearing like chains or like, you know, dressing up like riffraff or anything like that, and you're not like being subversive and trying to look like a, you know, a post metal guy with like a, you know, like a Scrams t-shirt on or something, you know what I mean? Like, you're just being you with your, you know, and you're wearing wolf shirt, and it's like, so it's kind of like, what, you know, why is it that guy? And then you see it, and then the music kind of speaks for itself, and it could be one video, and who knows what the first one is that anyone's gonna see. But then when they see it, if they'll either like it or not, and then that'll hook them, and then they'll probably watch something else. But there's so much variety in there that it's like the through line is just you. It's like your personality, like what you put into it, and those images that you kind of connect it with, you know. So
yeah, I want to.
What's your biggest vid? Like, which one went like?
The cover. Let's see. There's the Kendrick songs I did a few years ago, medley of like stuff
that timing on that was crushing though, man. It was like boom, like right out of the gates.
I was super stoked on that stuff at the time.
Oh, dude, it's so good. It's
That's still my favorite of his records.
It's just like that dude's poetry being delivered from. It's like this other dude, like, what? Like, who is this guy?
Right.
You know? It was like really, but like with passion, and like the beat is like made with your mouth, and like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, it was really cool.
For sure. There's a bit of a novelty. Yeah. There's still like a tiny amount of like white dude rapping novelty. To it. Yeah. Like, even when I play live, it's like.
Yeah, for
still
sure.
There's still a tiny spark of like, that's very ever so slightly unusual.
Yeah, and also like it's like. And it's Mike Simpson, you know, like if you know the dude, like if you're.
Well, I don't dress the part. Yeah. That's a pretty easy one. I don't dress the part.
Yeah.
So people see something incongruent there.
Yeah.
And I don't present myself if I'm in conversation with you. The stage thing is very much a different thing. How I present myself is people just wouldn't. A lot of people think I'm too like mild mannered to like be on stage.
Yeah, you turn something on.
Yeah, I don't go insane. You know how like know people who are like super mild mannered and then on stage they're like fucking rabid and shit. Yeah. I still do have like maybe one day I'll have like no inhibitions and I'll just do whatever the fuck I feel like. But I know what my place is at the time when I'm going on stage. Anyway, with the hip hop stuff and like what else? I did a Yellow Wolf track where one of the things I liked that I started to do was I would redo instrumentals or do instrumentals for like I did one for this Yellow Wolf song, and I just wrote my own verse over it, which was fun. That got a lot of views, and
so
Grimes,
people
California.
like to they come to you through another artist.
I guess that was the idea, but I don't know. It's like I'm still so much in the world of people who just already know me personally.
Yeah. But what about? Yeah, I guess it's hard to see where the clicks are coming from and who's watching it.
You can, but it's
you've done like lots of not around here stuff now, you know. Like,
I have, and it's that's a whole other topic. Is like, I mean, you can look at it from like, you know, looking at your Google Analytics and shit like that too. Yeah. Which is like, sorry.
Oh, your live stream went off again. How do we deal with this pickles thing? Pickles.
Switch feeds. Oh, McGee switched feeds for me. Oh, and then it died. Fuck. Alright.
You might have to edit now, unless you hit pause.
Oh, well, no, that's okay. Oh, yeah, you're right. You mean like on the recording. The actual thing that we're here to do.
Yep.
I'm like all fucking like caring about this. It's because it's immediate. It's immediate validation and gratification.
Put a marker on it. You're gonna have to edit it, or just roll it.
No, man, I'm thinking of you. Seriously, when I did the first one with Steve, and even now, I'm like thinking of you. Like, it's like, well, what else are you gonna do, Mike? You got another 2 hours of editing fucking Photoshop to do. You're not gonna shut off the podcast.
I'm not fucking doing anything for the rest of the day. Well, actually, yeah.
I mean like. Yeah. If you weren't you, but you were a graphic designer guy with computer number 2 playing podcast, would you really stop the podcast for like 20 seconds?
Definitely not. There's shit like that all the time. Like, 'cause I like a lot of the LA comedian podcasts, and because they all know each other, and so they'll feature on each other's podcasts, and you get to know these people's personalities and stuff like that. But some of them are so loose. Like, Ari Shaffir is this comedian who he has like a portable recording device, kind of like something like that, that pocket studio or some shit. And he just walks around with a couple SM58s, like they'll go to the park or like driving or stuff like that. And there's like distracting shit, and like someone keeps farting and they keep putting the window down in the car and like the window. Like they do all kinds of dumb shit like that. And it's just like, if you're an hour or so deep into like something like that, you're just kind of you're already in it. Like you're like, well, no, production quality here is like, you're just like, it's not really what you're going for, right?
That's what I wonder if the audience for this will just be. I could only hope it will just be like a ton of graphic designers.
Yeah. I bet you there's a correlation between certain types of jobs and like.
Oh, fuck yeah, there is. My roommate was a graphic designer. It was like the same deal. It's like I didn't realize until I was doing this like drawing project. I was like, how the fuck do you listen to shit and do it? And then it's like, oh, because like. There's enough of my brain not being used while I do this thing. That it's like,
for sure. Yeah, I never listen to. I've a couple of like ground rules where it's like, if I'm emailing, like if I'm doing any kind of interaction with people type of business, then no podcast, because that just
because you could make some mistakes.
And it's just you're not really listening to what's being said on the podcast, and you're also not engaged fully in like what you're saying or typing or whatever. So that there's that. Like that's just strictly music. And then but when I switch over to, and then if there's like creative work, like say it's like, okay, we need an original poster for this tour or something like that, and I have to do actual digital artwork or illustration or something like that, then usually music, because I don't want to be distracted by some guys just like making fart jokes or whatever. But if it's that kind of just...
If you're doing that furniture ad you were talking about.
Yeah, that sort of like just laying out text, things I've done a million times I could do in my sleep, then that shit gets me through for sure. It's like listening to people talk. And like that's how so many of these comedians have gotten their careers off the ground. Is like broadcasting their own personality to people, to anyone that wants to kind of check it out, and then it makes their comedy so much better because you're engaged with who they are as a person. And I really do think that it can apply to music as well. It really can, and it hasn't really been tapped that much. I don't know, maybe there's some really amazing musician hosted podcasts that are out there that I've never checked out, but I think I guess the difference is like comedians are good at like engaging and talking.
Specifically, are good at talking. Yeah.
Whereas like musicians, it's only a certain type of musician that's good at that type of shit.
Like the Brian Wilson podcast or something. If that were ever, that would be a terrible idea.
The Tom York podcast. Yeah.
Nah, it's cool, man. I'll just listen.
So
listen.
well, like, do you like beans on toast?
Yeah. So it's musicians aren't necessarily
Right.
comedians. It's like,
but rappers, you know, like I think rappers are like engaging.
Sure.
They're like engaging conversational kind of.
They certainly
entities,
can be.
You know, like a lot of rappers.
Man, it's like, I mean, it's like this other rapper named Fresher, like does like okay shit. He was like the one featured rapper on Eminem's latest record. His raps are okay. He's okay.
There's only one other rapper feature on
that album. Got fucking trashed, man. Like,
yeah.
Because he was all like, and Eminem's been doing this for like the last 10 years. Is like doing pop star features, like doing these like hooky choruses, just kind of like really just redoing that "Love the Way You Lie" song.
Oh, it's so
again
good.
And again and
again.
again.
Fucking,
You're gonna. Damn, dude, that's ballsy. Because almost everybody talks shit about this era of Eminem.
But what about that, dude? What was the fucking Rihanna one? That was it, right?
Yeah,
the Love the Way You Like, dude, that was so good. But yeah, it's not the Eminem of like,
no,
hi kids, you like violence?
Right, exactly. No.
Yeah, but
which was all like an act.
Yeah, but I don't think his new album's probably very good.
I mean,
I don't think I would like it.
You assume that based on. Just based on metrics of how when I think of like an artist that gets better with age, there's very few that I think of. I think of like, I don't know, and I don't even listen to him, but like David Bowie or like
it keeps evolving.
Swans.
Right? Yeah,
that's another big example for me. It actually gives me hope as I get older that I can still like do shit that's not just the same fucking thing again.
Oh hell yeah. Well, I mean, look at the range of shit you've already done, man. Like, what are you, like 34, 33? Yeah.
34.
So, like, yeah, for sure. You know how to evolve, and then that's the key to everything. It's important with everything, man. Like, you gotta roll with the punches and figure out like what you like and how to engage with that, right? But like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jay-Z does a good job of like keeping his like raps believable, like. He still is kind of rapping about shit that is like real in his life and like that people his age can probably connect to that grew up with his music and stuff like that, which is really cool.
Yeah, no, he did. He like that was because some people were kind of like iffy about his previous record because it was kind of just treading the water. Magna Carta, Holy Grail.
Didn't listen to it.
It was like. He was fine. I mean, the thing that Jay-Z has always done, a friend of mine explained this to me. It's like, okay, who's hot? Who's the hot producers? All right, let's get all of them in a room. Yeah. It's like crazy. There's like this video of like Jay-Z for that previous record. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's like Timberland, Pharrell, Swiss Beats, just like all in the same room together. Yeah, it's like, you just got like the three best. Yeah. Kanye doesn't really make his own beats anymore, so you got just like the three like biggest fucking producers, except for maybe, and I think Just Blaze was in there too. So it's like all of them. Like
they all know each other. They kind of probably live in the same area.
it was like a 15-minute.
It becomes a scene, like popular music, like rich people popular music becomes a scene for sure because the place to go make it, is usually like LA, and then the places that you vacation, like the best of the best of the best, always becomes the same spots, and everyone knows each other
all the time.
For sure, man. It is like a major. It's like its own little scene, and that's how the homogeny of like pop music ends up happening, right? Like through a lot of that sort of collaboration becomes just kind of the sound, and then it takes like outliers to kind of take that and put a spin on it, or coming in with something different.
I think some of Jay-Z's shit was done by like some of it was done by some. I think her name was Wonder Girl. She's this chick in in like Brampton. I think she's like 17 or something.
I've heard of her.
But it's like shit like that where it's. I mean, and Miles Davis did the same thing. It was like just plucking like 19-year-olds. It's real smart, man. Yeah. Like you got to do that because like. I don't know. It's just I don't know. Do you think there's something to be said? Because I'd like to think I'm immune to it, but. Just becoming set in one's ways, and specifically with taste.
Yeah, like I fucking love Motorhead so much, and I love Lemmy, and I love like how he just was like, this is what I do, and this is what I like, and I'm just gonna do this. and be like, you shouldn't do all that speed. It's bad for your mental health, you know?
Right.
And he's like, fuck you.
Fucking losers.
Yeah, whatever,
You showed
loser.
them.
Yeah. You know?
Well, I mean, you lived a surprisingly long life.
Yeah, but like I do love that. Like sometimes when a new Cannibal Corpse album comes out and everyone's like, oh, it sounds like the last Cannibal Corpse album, I'm like, this is fucking sick. Like, yes, I just turn it up.
Eventually they're gonna have every permutation of their
totally, dude. Like
possible.
the new, like I fucking love the new Suffocation album. I do, and it's goddamn sounds like every other Suffocation album. I don't care. It's so good, and like that's really cool. And I almost like respect it and like in a way because I don't know how to do that. Like I don't have the attention span to just like explore every minuscule little corner of one specific idea for my entire life. You know what I mean? Like it's so rad when people can do that, man, but I can't.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting light to shed on that. I would almost call that laziness.
Yeah.
But putting it in that way where it's like you're so enamored with 1991 death metal, you're like, I'm still working with it.
Yeah, like I'm in. Yeah, I'm all in. Like,
and you're right, and that's like, you know, the same. I don't know if you were like a, you know, whatever, you're a journeyman in some other craft, or you know, you're just really into that one thing, and then so if you think of it in that regard, it's just like this is the toolbox and I'm cool with perfecting it, and I can make peace with that. Like I really kind of abhor like laziness with just in terms of people not really trying. But usually if it's really actually lazy and like there's no progress whatsoever, then it becomes boring and it just leaves the cultural zeitgeist. Like, no one cares anymore. Like, if you got shit, like, God, I can think of a fucking million bands. I don't want to start like, ripping on bands, but, like, it just, no one cares anymore. Right.
Unless you really just have established something, like a fan base and whatever. But, yeah, it's, like, you have to be awesome at it. Yeah. But I'm interested in the evolution of artists for sure. I like people with variety, and you know, I like hanging out even with people that surprise me all the time. Like that's one of my favorite qualities in people that are like people who you're like, oh really, like you like that, or like you're going bowling, you know, like
right.
You know, like anything, just people that can kind of evolve and shake it up and try new things and that kind of shit. So that reflects in music or whatever art form, visually, like people that go through like eras, you know, like it's a natural thing that a lot of people do, like that, you know. Like I can definitely kind of narrow down parts of my life, and I'm like, yeah, I was like a skate punk dude then. Like I fucking skateboarded all the time, and I listened to NoFX, and that was my shit, you know. And like that's what I cared about, and I wore beanies and baggy pants, and that was my shit, you know. And then it's like, oh, some fucking Noriega comes out or something, you're like,
you're like,
whoa,
turn the world upside down.
Like, what's this
Noriega
guy doing?
was that was your rap guy, eh?
I think that was the one that was like, I liked it. It sounded like really fresh, and I was like, this is cool, and it had like melodic beats, like hooky melodic. I don't know, but yeah, and then I was like, that's it. I'm fucking country white guy rap Crossley.
You're that guy,
you know, like whatever. Like you just. And it's definitely more when you're a kid, like you're more willing to like try to find new identities because you're trying to actually find an identity. And then, you know, you get to a certain age where you're just amalgamation of all those experiences and things that you went through. But then that's when you can start channeling them and making cool shit out of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you're inclined to that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you're inclined. Yeah. So it's two sides of the coin. Fucking two sides of the coin there. Six one, half dozen of the other, you know.
6 1 half. Yeah. You know, you kill two birds with one stone, and I'm trying to think of what else.
I don't know. I I make a point to not use those as much as possible, so I don't.
Oh well, it's because
any
like
of them at
they're
the tip of my
conversation.
tongue.
They're like they're statement enders. Right?
Yeah, totally. They're like, that's how to get out of a conversation.
Oh, actually, you know what? Like, or it's like, but then it's the word after that where you're just like, you know, it's like killing two birds with one stone. Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
do you ever
is.
notice that? Like when people. I'm actually really interested in people when they're being interviewed at how, because I used to do interviews for the radio, right? And
Yeah.
I would always
I'm sorry, man. I'm just
be
you and I have broken down language outside of shows, like during shitty
dude,
bands
this is
so
another
many times.
yeah, exactly.
It's my favorite thing.
It's so so small, but like yeah. See, that's another thing that I like about you is like yeah, you're aware of that. Like you're capable of microscoping that and being like, you know, this thing that happens a lot, and it's like a little too specialized for most people.
My fucking biggest one when people say like, yeah, well, you know, way she goes.
Right.
Can't kill two birds with one stone, and you're like, I'm like, yeah, man. Like, that's it. It's always like that.
And that's how every conversation ends.
That's it. That's that.
You know what? I've never actually seen the. I really need to see the Seinfeld episode.
Oh,
where you're.
keep going.
Are you gonna start her up part 2?
Yeah.
You can share it, which you want to do, because then more people will watch it.
All right.
I think you did that. Did you?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going live again.
Yeah, part 2. No, if your part 2 is anything like mine, don't expect the same.
We are live
don't
again.
Don't expect the same listenership. They don't. They don't necessarily come back.
Let's see if we can get another angle going upstairs.
Oh yeah.
You have a different stand.
Yeah, it points up, so I think the floor is generally better move.
Yeah. I'm just gonna think of it. Oh, you do have this plug. Fucking future is now, buddy.
You don't have that?
Oh wait. Oh, it's this iPhone.
Oh, dog. It's all good.
Nice.
It's all
Yeah, your
good.
battery's too low for live. It's alright.
No worries. No worries. What's that?
Still
Like
got one stream
10%?
going. Yeah.
We still got one stream. The new era of 2-camera streaming. I mean, fuck, like pros, they do, like live streaming is the new advertising the thing.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I don't use it that much. I like to, yeah, there's like a couple people are just like, so-and-so is live. I'm like, okay.
Well, I watched some example live streaming things because I was curious. Because, yeah, marketers, like, marketers, have you ever, like, I find it so hard to read these fucking blogs and not feel like the shit's so pathetic, dude, to be honest with you. Like, marketers whose whole job is to fucking understand Facebook's algorithm, and no one really knows what it is. They're like, but that's like,
that just gives me a headache, man.
Like these like social media analysts, like, yeah, like that's why, like, a lot of times, I think you mentioned something earlier about knowing how people discover what I do. I think I could know better, but I think I would also be a less happy person if I spent that much extra time on the internet, I think.
Yeah, that's just time you could be like fucking using your crock pot or writing a song or something,
Yeah.
you know? Like it's just not interesting. Like it's just not that interesting. Like I just think there's more effort can be put into just making the fucking thing that you're making better than trying to like strategize about how you're gonna find people to see the thing you've already made. Like that's not interesting to me at all. Like when we like at band practice for sure, you know, I'll talk to like the guys will be like, okay, well, you know, what are we gonna do with this like recording now? We got to send it out and do this and that. So we make a little list. Like, yeah, we got to send it out to the college radio stations and people that, you know, are into punk rock and kind of get them interested in it and stuff like that. And then that conversation hits a certain point, and then you start trying to like, suddenly people start having big ideas about strategizing how to get like audiences and shit, and that's when I'm like, can't kill two birds with one stone. Yeah, man. You know, like that's when I just fucking like, I'm out. Like I don't care. I just want to get back to writing a song.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that works to one's detriment, but I mean, ultimately, you're going to do what makes you feel the best either way. And for me, it definitely would not be
sitting on Google Analytics.
analysis of after the fact things or strategizing. It's just would not.
Some people love it, and that's cool. I would hire them. Like if I could get my product, whatever it is, like good enough to the point where you can start bringing some people into the fold to help you find a bigger audience, and that's fucking cool. But do I ever want to take that on myself? Absolutely not. You know, like I don't know. Yeah, like there's like Canyon, so that's my other bands, like Andrew Hastings' psych pop band. I play bass in it.
Okay.
Basically, I just write bass lines and play them. And he's just like he's a lot like yourself. Like he's a multi-instrumentalist guy with a ton of ideas, and like he makes time to do music a lot on his own. He knows how to record. He just does really, really cool shit. And then he'll apply for grants and stuff like that. But it's like his this music that he makes, I think, is like fucking. This is why I joined. It's like way better than like so many other things in that genre. But he's a musician, and like we're all doing other shit. Like we don't have anyone to push it.
Yeah.
We can just all we can do is play shows and tell people we're playing shows, and make records, and like make the album cover look cool, and kind of try to get it into some stores and put it on Spotify. Like it kind of ends there, unless you have somebody in your band, or you hire somebody to like take it to that next level.
Well, I guess the thing underlying a lot of this, I think, is the idea that there's a struggle to be had, that something hasn't been achieved yet.
Yeah.
And that's certainly the perspective that I come from. Don't you think it's the
ability to just do that exclusively and not have to do other things that you don't want to do?
Maybe that's exactly it.
I think that's what it is.
If I were to judge by those measures, I would be so far from achieving anything.
Yeah.
If it was from, say, like a strictly economic point of view, yes, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, my yearly expenses are pretty low. My rent for the moment is quite inexpensive. So it doesn't even have to be that high. Like, does it boil down to that? Does it boil down to would we even be talking about like deficiencies in how much reach you have if we were both successfully making, whether yours was playing in a band or like through vinyl brokering or whatever, and mine was like I get enough streams. I mean, that would be an insane amount of streams for me to make successfully, but would that be it? Because I'm not. I do want the music that I make to reach. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot in terms of just not getting out there. If it's possible, I want to get it out there as much as possible. But I don't have a concrete goal with regard to exposure. I could make one, but it would be meaningless.
Right.
So is it maybe the economics is the one thing that's.
I think that's sort of that you just mentioned an underlying struggle.
Yes.
And I think that is, for a lot of artists, what that struggle is. It's like, I love this and I want to just do it all the time, and I don't want to have to go fucking work at the Sobeys this weekend. I want to like work on my music, but I can't because the money's not there because of this, that, the other thing. So like, and it's not. I don't think it's necessarily this as much of like a vying for like popularity or being rich or whatever that people seem to associate with that aspect of music. I think it's like just wanting to be able to create all the time and find like with like really good artists do, and so that is part of it. But I mean, is the success of something to be judged on that? Absolutely not. Like, no, the success is if you listen to it and you're like, oh my god, I fucking made this thing that I love, and like that's what I've been wanting to make, and I made it, and now it's out in the world, and like maybe there's a few people that connect with it. Like, that's fucking all you need. You make someone's day with a tune or whatever, that's totally cool, So it's and it's different for everybody. Like I have really no big aspirations for like you know, musical fame or popularity. Obviously, if I did, I'd be conducting my life in a completely different way, right? But it's hugely satisfying to me to be able to do it on a regular basis. Like, I really like being in like 3-4 rehearsals a week, even if I have no gigs. I don't care. Like, it's just, I want to be there, like, practicing my instrument and like and getting better at like playing with people and that kind of shit, trying out new styles. Like, that part in itself is like such a massive part of what makes me feel good on the day to day, that's a success enough. Like, if I get my like 3 or 4 rehearsals in, maybe like track some bass for something, or like have a gig or two, or a weekend ripper, or like get the artwork done for a CD or something like that we're working on, like, that to me is like a really successful week. It feels fucking good, you know. You're like, yeah, the shit's getting done, you know. And like, yeah, and then try to keep everything else surrounding that, like the way that the money is made, about music too, and hopefully it's shit that you like, that you're working on, right? And then yeah, so if I can do merch designs and posters, or like, you know, I actually want to get into skate shit more too, because I'm a huge skateboarding fan. I suck now, but I still skate a little bit, but like I'm like, but yeah, like if you can keep, like, that's pretty much what I like to think of as success, is like you're just doing shit that you want to be doing with your life, you know, and you have that kind of freedom to.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're more or less doing that then?
To a degree, yeah. Like, there's obviously stuff. I'm always kind of thinking, like, what's the next thing to chop? Like, what do I want to get rid of so I have more time to do other shit that I like? And like, but yeah, man, like, dude, it's I'm happy. Like, it's real now. Like, I don't have to I don't have to go to work anymore. It's work for me, right? It's pretty sweet. But like, is some of the work I'm doing like monotonous and not really up my alley? Yeah, for sure. But
right,
you know, you just slowly is like weed that stuff out, right? But it takes a long time.
Yeah, I'm conscious of I forget the name of the curve. There's like this like the curve. You have an XY axis in this curve. As it gets closer and closer to the
what's that
axis, but it never ever will actually intersect.
Yeah,
like, it will just get incrementally smaller and closer, but never actually make it there.
Yeah,
I guess what I'm getting at is like, take that as like context point number 1, and context point number 2 was like, there's, for whatever reason, when I was in 9th grade band class, my teacher was talking about how he was working with the head, the first chair of the marching band flute section on this thing, but it was a very, very far more minute thing, obviously, because she was great, you know. Yeah. And we sucked, but that was factual anyway. So those two contextual points just sort of define a lot of how I look at things, and I guess.
So wait, so the other thing was like, it sounded really important to her,
and not even that. It's more the okay, we're working on. Okay, so he was like, we're working on this issue with the sound, with your sound, like your Amish or whatever.
Yeah.
We were doing the same thing with Katie, and I was doing the same thing with her, but on a smaller thing. And I guess just so looking at it as one's perspective, if you know something really well, your ability to see the cracks increases over time. So this is the thing with I was thinking this is the thing with as you know, with goal setting, and as you move toward achieving particular things. I guess I think I already know the answer to whatever question comes from this, but you get your promotion. How long, or at your job, whatever job, how long until you find something that you don't fucking like about your, more work, and you don't get paid hardly enough extra for it. There's always, so it's just, things become more minute. So like, if I were ever fortunate enough to, say, make enough money, and instead of doing like 2 a dozen or 15 date European tours a year. Let's say I did or instead of playing 800 or 80 or 100 shows a year, whatever I play, let's say it was 200 or 250.
Yeah.
And it's okay, well, this is way more of what you want.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's almost, there is nothing will prevent you from eventually finding
it's true.
Finding flaws.
That's a good thing. It's a good way to be, for sure. It's as long as you are I'm only speaking for myself and from what I've seen in other people but around me, but it's healthy to look for those things hey, what's the next thing that we're going to kind of try to improve or change here, and just keep chasing it. And that's the fun of life. It's trying to get, it's okay, where's the big holes? I feel like that journey starts for a lot of people if they're not academics and they don't have a clear path right away, if they're just a regular Joe or an artist or something like that, it kind of starts in your late 20s for a lot of people, where you start going, okay, there's some big holes in here. I fucking drink every night, or I'm super depressed. What's going on here? How did I get to, I graduated from college to now I fucking hate myself and I hate my life or whatever. A lot of people find themselves in that place, or I'm fucking broke, I make no money, whatever. Those major things that you run into at that age where the real world starts to kick in, and then so you fucking put the asphalt in the big holes first, okay, I need a better job, that's it, I'm going full on, I'm just gonna find a better paying job so I'm not a fucking broke ass anymore, or I gotta get drinking down to twice a week, because if I just keep boozing like this, I'm gonna have a fucking liver infection and die, whatever it is. And then once those are covered, then you're oh yeah, okay, I got enough money to pay rent now, I don't have bill collectors calling me, but I sure would like to eat at fucking the Keg Mansion. Or that's only funny to you and I because we weren't recording that earlier.
That was for the people who missed it when we were in the hallway earlier.
The hallway, yeah. But there's that thing. So then you start to strategize of okay, what can we change? And then and then the further it goes along, the older you get, aging's awesome, because then you get, as long as you keep your health together and you don't it's good. You just keep fixing whatever you perceive as the thing that needs to be improved, right? And it's so slow, everything's slow, and you just got to trust the process. Just be every day, as long as you're kind of inching towards what's better, and then you have those moments of reflection where you're oh shit, not bad, and you can think of so many people that when you met them to where they are now, Noah, architect Noah, it's I didn't even know that guy played guitar, and I had no idea what the fuck he was all about in life. He just seemed like a chill guy that liked to have some beers, and now he's yeah, I'm an architect, and I'm a sick guitar player, and he's got a great relationship and a dog, and you know what I mean, he's just one of those dudes who's kind of just patching the holes, he's constantly making that progress. So I don't know, that's kind of where my head's at these days, man.
I got you.
Just thinking about that, and then I'm stoked to and shit's always gonna come at you, you're always gonna get fucking hammered with this thing or that thing, out of nowhere, people die, or you get sick, or relationship shit, or fucking financial stuff, car accidents, whatever, all this kind of stuff can come at you. It's just weathering the storm, but yeah, then you make it part of your identity, and then you fucking make it into content and sell it to people.
And then you make it into content. And then the goal, you just want to try and reuse that content as many times as possible, just to increase its life. And then that's the testament to that loved one who died, that you turned their memory into some content.
I made this content for you, Aunt Beth.
This is, and that podcast was #1 for 6 weeks. Thank you, Aunt Gladys. I miss you.
It's crazy. Just to go from like a really kind of like genuine place to like this super disingenuous kind of rambling. Like, what the fuck happened? That's not where I saw that.
My live stream of my aunt's funeral.
Oh yeah, my phone died.
Are you addicted to this shit now?
I am. Yeah, you got me on it. Oh, my live stream died, bro.
So what a lot of what I saw, like some like popular examples of live streaming as ads, was shit, what was it? Oh, it was a vote. It was like a voting information session. It was Starbucks.
Yeah.
And what's his name? Howard. Oh, thank you, man. Howard Schultz was present at this event, so it was like, some Starbucks sponsored, rock the vote thing. Common performed.
Yeah.
So it was 30 minutes. It was, Gladys franchisee number 1212.
Yeah.
And she's got her. I can't do a Queens accent, but it was like, I've been down here with Queens for like. Okay, I'm not gonna fucking stop. I should stop. I never do fucking accents. But she was like, it was like real noticeable. So it was like her, and then like regional supervisor number whatever.
Yeah.
And so it was the personal stamp, and then they were like, hey, what's up, guys? Are we live? Okay, great. And I guess that's why marketers think, or why this is the future, because they're like, oh, it's almost like you're talking to a real person. Wow. Anyway, so they're like, okay, so we're gonna go around to this great event and check out what's going on and watch some of the so we'll watch some of Common's performance, and then stay tuned for the end where we'll take some of your questions. That's key. Looking at your stream on your as people interact with you, and we'll ask a few of your questions to Common and Howard when we meet up with them at the end. So I fast forward to the end because, like, I'm curious what Howard Schultz looks like. I don't even really know. I guess he's originally from fucking New York. I didn't know that. But, like...
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no clue.
And also, he must have started way young, because dude looks like he's, like, in his 60s and, like...
Yeah, he's probably getting fucking stem cells shot into him and shit, man.
He's actually like, 120 years old.
Yeah.
For Starbucks, it's actually a vampire. So him and Common... who also looks like ageless too.
Yeah, he looks great, man. Yeah, he looks. Totally.
I don't know if that's like the black don't crack thing.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
But like, he looks like spotless, like no lines. Whatever.
He's the man. It's because he kept the quality of the raps and the message clean, so it kept his visage clean.
But I remember you playing me that one like really foul track that he did from like his first record before he was like conscious. Do you remember you played this for me?
Oh, was that me?
Yeah, it was from his first album. I was like, this is Common?
Oh shit! Yeah.
It's about a chick or something like that.
Yeah, I think I remember we were listening to that. It's been a while.
But yeah, I was like, wow, this is not the Gap commercial guy, know. Anyway, so so the regional supervisor's like, okay, let's see what we got here. So and so wants to know why civic engagement is important to you, Common, and then they said your name and. Then Common answers your question.
Yeah,
it's like,
that's pretty cool.
I guess it's part of the whole breakdown of the person being observed and the observer.
Yeah, we can really communicate easily. Like it's pretty neat to see a stand-up special and be like, oh, this person's really funny, and then realize they have a podcast, and then kind of like listen to them for a few episodes and get to know them, and then go on their live stream and be like, yo, dude, I watched your special, it was fucking hilarious, and they're like, thanks, man. And you're like, like, that's that guy I just saw on the TV.
Right.
Like, that's just, it's really amazing that we can do it. Like, but did you go down to Starbucks after and get a latte or what? Like, I don't know.
I mean,
does that work as marketing?
I was already going to go there anyway.
You were at Starbucks while you were watching it.
Yeah. I was, in my case, it's a bit like political ads. Like, political ads are basically, I think, just reminders of that you're mad and you need to go out and vote for the people you were already going to vote for.
Oh, my God, yeah. It is kind of crazy, but... I guess when you're as big as Starbucks, like, you got to spend the marketing dollars on something. I guess that's kind of a cool thing to do, you know? But
yeah, well, I think Starbucks was a bit unique. And can I get you to go a little bit closer to the mic?
Yeah, Mike.
Or just
Mike
like
fade in
toward
there,
it?
yeah.
I don't think Starbucks had to do that much advertising. I think I read that somewhere. It was far more of an organic.
Yeah.
Like the effects were, it's like a marketer's dream. I think Starbucks is right up there with like fucking Coca-Cola, and
Totally.
which is like the OG of
Think about the simplicity of it, man. That's what I really stress in almost everything. Is like, 2 colors.
Yeah, I like how you see,
You
like,
know,
you
like-
remind me of like the ability, because I remember you said like the No Fun logo was Helvetica, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
same thing though, 2 colors.
Yeah. Two colors. Real simple, like one word, one image that you always associate with it. Doing something like fair trade coffee. That's fucking delicious. You know, like that's all they did. They're just like, it's green and white. It's got that Versace looking bitch on there. I mean,
Oh, I think that was
was that our first curse? Yeah. And then it's like just really good fair trade coffee, right? And then it's just a no-brainer. Like, everyone wants that.
Right.
Yeah. It filled like a gap. I don't know. I went to Starbucks #1 in Seattle, man.
Oh, in the market, whatever it's called.
It's just a Starbucks.
Oh, isn't it like called like the market, that area of
Yeah,
Seattle?
it's like yeah.
The fish. Anyway, I don't really know.
It's just a Starbucks.
I haven't been.
But yeah, I'm all about it. Like, I do try to do it with stuff to a degree. Like, that's like I think just because as a creative project, like Sago is the one that I put the most energy into over the last few years.
Did you guys get the person who does those raccoons? Because I've seen those around town.
Yeah, we bought a painting off her.
That shit was cool though.
Yeah,
That shit, like,
you got it right there.
So which one? Where?
You see it
No.
right behind you.
Oh yeah. That.
Yeah, we bought it off because we'd already started using all the angry raccoon graphics.
Yeah, I thought that was great.
And then we saw
shirt.
those and we were like, yeah, that's our shit right there.
Yeah,
man.
and so that was just like that, just so. Because there's 5 guys.
There's 5 guys, I know.
And that was, so she had already made.
She has a lot of those paintings, and I wish I could
so
remember her
cool.
name right now. Alex would know. I can't.
Yeah,
remember
no,
her name,
that was really smart.
But yeah, it was cool. And then we made those T-shirts, and like, yeah, they sold out pretty quick, except for like the XLs or whatever. Like, people love that because it kind of gave an option for like a visual that was not like a vicious animal, like, and it wasn't the spiky logo, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I think that was from that angle, it's cool too. Like, have you seen, like, going back to the band photos, like, have you seen those like Sleep photos, like the band Sleep, like the later?
Yeah, they're dressed
like
kind of funny.
Have you seen the one where it's like 2 of the 3 guys are sitting in the van, one of them's dressed up in a fucking astronaut space suit, and the third, and then it's like a split, and it's like the third guy's like on a payphone somewhere, and the other 2 guys are super pissed, like they're probably fill in the blank here, they're just kind of like, we got a show her now, where the fuck are you?
Yeah, you're like, you can make your own kind of.
I don't know where the fuck that came from, but that was like, that shit was fucking, and especially from like old dudes, who's like, you do not expect.
Yeah.
When I think of old dudes, I think of like, you know, I don't know. I think of like
Rigs of Dad.
Rigs of Dad. Well, one better than Rigs of Dad. I'm thinking of like when I would see Abyss, the band Abyss.
Yeah.
And like Dave is pretty like up on his shit, but like a couple of the other like guitar players are like total like death metal dads, you know?
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
sure.
It's like, I remember talking to the drummer who left years ago, but I remember talking to him at the time and trying to be like, oh, you know, this band, and it's like, I haven't updated my life since 1992.
Yeah, he just listens to his like
that shit was the best
CDs.
shit.
Yeah.
It was the best shit. Why would I fucking listen? I don't
he's
like
got
any
other
of this
shit to
new
do,
shit.
man. He's like, you know,
yeah,
he's
exactly,
like making cabinets
it's
and raising his kids or something.
Why would I change my Wi-Fi password?
Yeah.
At the point when neither you or I can answer that question, it's like, that's when you know you're like pretty set.
Yeah,
you know?
that's when all the little potholes are filled in. You're like, I'm good, you know? You're like, okay, I'm cool now. Like, I'm just sticking with this, you know? Like, because, I know, that is interesting. It comes with age, right? But yeah, like, to this, like, going back to the sleep press photo, like to have to kind of lighten the mood a little bit for the audience. Like, it's just something that's kind of fun. Like, yes, okay, this is a really abrasive or oppressive kind of sounding thing that we're making, but here's a little thing to show you that, you know, we're just people. Like, we got a sense of humor.
Right.
I don't know. There's so much to be said for that. Like, look at fucking, and there's been people who've had massive success with that approach. Like, look at fucking Tyler, the Creator.
Right.
Like, hardcore, vicious rapping, nasty beats, like absolutely crazy. And then visually, it's like just constant humor, like
super
silly,
goofy,
funny
like,
jokes. Except for that cockroach video, that was pretty gnar. But like,
that first, like the first thing that became popular. Yeah, that was dark.
Yeah.
That was dark, but like, holy shit, that was like visually on like another level. That's
yeah.
insane.
Like that kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's just important to like be self-aware with your shit. Like, guess what? Nobody believes that you're Discharge. You can act and look as much like you're Discharge or whatever as you want. Like, mysterious guy, like fucking pretentious crust lord. Like, you know, no, like. It's 2018, dude. You have Instagram. You know,
that's
like,
what I mean. It's kind of,
so like, let's be real about it. Yeah, let's be real about it. Like, yeah, like anything that we do with, you know, visually with that like high contrast black and white photocopy stuff is just, it's an homage to an era, and we know that, and like, you know, try to do something fun with it or whatever. But like, you have to be yourself a little bit. Like, we put our like our kid pictures, like our school pictures, on our Instagram. Like, right when we started our Instagram, it was like these silly photos of just us when we're like 6 or 9 or something like that, just to be like, yeah, we're people, you know. And it's like, and it was good. It like, or like our press photo, like that we use for, you know, what you use press photos for, is just like a whole bunch of people. It's like us and like a whole bunch of people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like difficult to tell who
you don't have no idea. It's like, yeah, it's like there's like, I think there's like 25 or 30 people in the picture. Or like, and then we have another one where it's us and our lady friends in the van. So it's like there's like,
it's still like
a bunch of people. Yeah, and like, which one of these people plays in the band, you know? And it's just like, and we're smiling in it and shit like that. But then the music is just this like vicious kind of like just manifestos against greed and
right,
and capitalism in a lot of ways. Like, Alex is kind of like, you know, sort of like predictions of environmental destruction and placing blame on greed and all this kind of like intense shit, right? But it's like, no, like, people aren't that engaged in lyrics and like politically engaged that they're going to be like, yeah, this is the band for me that has this message. It's like, no, Napalm Death also has that message. Like, every fucking band has, we're all on the same page. So how are we going to make this into something that people can kind of connect to so that they want to come out and fucking hang out with us and shit like that, and maybe listen to the CD or the whatever, you know, like, so it's like, you got to do more fun. You got to do fun shit. It's got to be fun.
Right. Well, yeah. I think it just for me, I think that it has to be, well, no, it doesn't have to be fun, but I think that I'd like to know that there's that side. Like, I remember for years seeing photos of like Rage Against the Machine and being like, was there a ban on them being able to like smile in photos? Yeah,
deadly serious.
And it occurred because that makes sense. Like, there was like one photo, and like it was like reading Spin magazine or something, and like they even commented on it. It's like the only photo of Zach De La Rocha like smiling.
Yeah.
Like, so I mean, yeah, I guess it can work. I think maybe in general, speaking of like aggressive stuff, that's an avenue that hasn't been explored as much, and that's something that people are now, I'm also very out of the loop when it comes to that, but I don't know, put it in like hip hop and shit. I don't know, like, I think that's what makes, I don't know, you know what, I'm kind of talking about shit I don't really know about, but like, I mean, I was definitely going from like the way I see it and why I want to
make shit work a certain way. Like I'm definitely not saying like that's the only way to do it.
No, but I think it's better that than trying to posture yourself like, well, first of all, like something that's already been done.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Secondly,
like if you really are like, you know, like victims of a broken society that have heroin addictions because the medical system let you down and or whatever. Like if you're really that low and bleak, and you still have the ability to make music, then yeah, absolutely be that.
Right.
Be what you are. But like, I just think in this day and age, there's not much point in like pretending to be evil. You know?
Yeah.
Like, or like whatever. It's just corny to me personally. I don't know.
I remember talking to Lucas
Yeah.
about I think he had a point talking about how like if you listen to like, well, first of all, like say what made Marilyn Manson really relevant in like the mid to late 90s. Also, like a lot of rap songs, if you listen, like when they do the like I'm satanic.
Yeah,
angle,
3 6 Mafia shit, like early 3 6
Mafia.
Mafia.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, you know, Ghetto Boys shit
Yeah,
in the
totally.
early days and stuff. Like that. Satanism, I think, was maybe more, or he said, was more of a like kind of a hot button issue. It hadn't been thoroughly mined.
Yeah, it was like, ooh, Satan. Yeah, I forgot about him. Yeah, let's
or
look
like
at,
you know, check out the album art to like Hellhammer, like pre-Celtic Frost.
Yeah.
Like shit is like, I still think it's pretty fucking like pretty fucking bone chilling and also awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if a lot of that kind of imagery has just been super played. Then again, like in hip hop now, like the inverted cross is actually an accessory that a lot of guys
so
wear.
much metal imagery now.
And yeah, and
has
now
gone
it's like
over to hip hop.
like flipping through like Tinder profiles and shit, you'll see so many like Metallica and Justice for All t-shirts, because I guess they're probably on sale at like
you can get them at
H&M or
I got a Ride the Lightning t-shirt at Winners.
yeah, exactly, dude. It's fully,
I was like, no way.
fully like, and me like not 10 years ago would have been so pissed about that. Like,
yeah.
you know, now it's obviously you realize there are things that don't really matter, and
that's one of them. Metallica is a commodity. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. They are not just for you. They never were. Yeah, exactly. But it would fucking suck if I was like 12 or 13.
Totally.
And then that started happening, and I'd be like, dude, my specialness is like relies on me being the only one who listens to this. And now this is fucking taken from me?
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, yeah, it's you know, I don't know. It happens over time.
Yeah, man. Did we? I think we've analyzed a whole bunch of different angles of pseudo-related topics.
Yeah.
Is that what we were going for?
I mean, there is no aim. That's that's my thing.
That's good. I like it. I like the flow. It's good.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's like a conversation.
Yeah, man.
Instead of being like, being like, is this a podcast thing where you're like, okay, now we're gonna do the segment called 5 Things.
Sometimes
Sometimes
it is.
I'm gonna say a word and like some fucking gimmick or like
My favorite bit right now in a podcast like that is Jeremiah Watkins. He's a comedian.
You were talking about him
And
earlier.
and he has this bit at the end of his podcasts where he has the other comic describe the first time they had sex.
They got sex. I like that.
like the first time when they lost their virginity.
Yeah.
And it's so like they know up front that that's gonna be part of it.
Okay.
And just hearing how people approach that story, and like sometimes it's a completely mundane story, but like it's just how the person tells it. It's fucking really good, man.
Okay.
But like yeah, that doesn't work. Like segments, I don't know if they work.
I mean, I'm
really.
sure they can. I think it's like, I think being honest with yourself, first of all, in terms of how much time you want to spend on a thing. And in this
Yeah.
case, beyond meeting up with you, I don't want to spend any time on this.
Yeah.
Like, at all.
Totally, man.
This is like I said. This is I mean. Okay, well here's another important thing. You when I listened to part of yours and Steve's interview, or your interview on Steve's.
Yeah,
show.
like was it the last one where like the Raptors were playing in the division finals?
Beyond where I listened to. You were talking about you had just done a benefit show.
Oh yeah, or we had something booked. Yeah, I remember that one. I think I was at my parents' place for that episode.
So
and, yeah,
you said like what you're not looking at this as like playing music as being kind of your be all and end all, but if you can kind of help people in the process.
Yeah.
What I'm wondering about is and I've read this in other like when you look at mission statements of companies or something, usually there's a greater there's an attempt to assist with the common well-being of all.
Mm-hmm.
I can write that, but I have trouble reconciling why I do anything related to what I do as being for any reason other than for myself.
Right. I think because you are an immensely creative guy who's actually like coming up with super original ideas, and you're like your depth of ability and creativity, I think, runs very deep in a very honest, artistic way. And I'm not just kind of blowing smoke here. It's like there doesn't need to be more of any reason for you to make what you make. You just do it. It's really fucking cool that way. I'm a punk bass player. Like, that's what I do. I just play slam and hardcore tunes. It's not like I'm not, we can write really cool songs, we can be creative, we can try to find an original sound, whatever. But like, at the end of the day, we're just contributing to this kind of pool of music that's of a certain genre. It's like we're there, there are tropes and things that are expected within that music that we love, and that's why we make it. So, and it is community oriented scene, I guess, too. Like, and there's like, I think historically, punk as it is, like, not is sometimes less about music in general and just more about, it can be sometimes about a community and how you can kind of like whatever little reach you have to kind of lift people up, to use that reach and kind of do something, and that can be like a pretty satisfying thing. And like, we haven't done a ton of that shit, that's kind of what we talk about. Like, we're always down for, doing a show for a cause, but like, but yeah, it's, I think you and I do different things, man. Like, I think we really do, it's like, there's obviously a lot of similarities too, it's like playing instruments to create something original and satisfy yourself and other people. Like, that's the essence of it. But like, like, I can understand that disparity that you see. It's like, why would I need to do this and that and the other thing? But yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that I believe that the ultimate thing to do would be to better things for others. I think so. I just frequently I find it difficult to really see how what I like to do and what I want to do with it is being done for other people.
Yeah. I think that might be what makes you be able to, like, the fact that you can just create it because it needs to be made is like, that's kind of the essence of it in the first place. Like, you don't really need to look outside of that, because it's just, whatever, once you put it out, that's the mark of an like a good artist, man. Like you put what is coming out of you out into the world and let it do as it may. And you're not fucking trying to be Bono or some shit. You're just fucking...
No. Well, and I mean, I don't even think Bono was trying to be Bono at the beginning.
No,
it's something that grew out of it over time, right?
Yeah, like you find yourself in a position to be able to help out with things financially or whatever, but and like even benefits shows we do, we're raising like $1,800 or something for like small causes, like little things like that, and it takes a whole bunch of people to get together. But it's like, yeah, I think there's so many different ways of looking at it, but I don't know. I like the way you approach it, man. Like I do.
Thanks.
You like, yeah, like I've fucking just admired your ability and your like the amount of different things you've been able to bring to the table over the years since I've known you. Like, dude, like we met when we were 24, 25, so like 10 years ago, something like that. So yeah, like more than a decade probably I've known you, and I've seen you go through just like all kinds of different ideas and execute them in really cool, interesting ways that are all yourself, or like collaborations with other people that are like, kind of think the same way, or in that particular time. Like, yeah, it's just like inspiring, man. It's like really, really cool, and like that's the way you got to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thanks. I mean, I appreciate that. Yeah. And I like you definitely. I wanted to have to talk to you for this kind of thing, because aside from just providing good and being capable of talking, obviously.
Yeah. I love talking.
It was what you said. Yeah. Like, I think also just. I mean, it's always nice when someone says nice things about me, of course. Like, so I appreciate the fact that you like what I do. But aside from that, I think that that you have the ability to be more objective than others, and also have a distinct amount of humility that I think partially comes from or attracts you to something like comedy podcasts. You're interested in other human beings without necessarily any of it having to be a self-serving interest.
Yeah, totally. I'm all about objectivity. Mm-hmm. Like I'm to a fault where I like to take a step back in almost every situation. Sometimes I take the step back too early, but I love I love kind of looking at things for like what they are and examining the different angles of them, and then people are just fascinating, and that's definitely it, right? And I'm kind of like, I'm kind of like I think about existential shit a lot. Like I'm just like I remind myself daily like the limited nature of life and that kind of shit. And like I definitely that we don't know on what's like we just so much we don't know, and so to have any kind of like self-aggrandization tendencies to me doesn't make any sense. Like I just feel like you limit yourself if you're trying to project into the world that you know more about something than somebody else. If you whether you do or don't is whatever, but or like that you're better or that your status is higher, like all that kind of shit is just really exhausting, and like seems like just so minuscule, right?
It's very short-sighted.
Yeah, short-sighted, right? So I just avoid people that conduct themselves that way, and like it's just not part of it's just not part of how I roll at all. I'm just more curious. Like I just want to see what shit's all about, and that's why I like doing a lot of different things, I think, But
hey, you know what it's bringing to mind the night that I met you was when we played that show at Siesta. me, or the Womb and Villapen played together.
Was it Siesta? I thought it was Holy Joe's.
No, because we asked you. That wasn't until after we knew you that we got you on. Yeah, we just happened to be like Matt put the bill together, and we just happened to be.
Up in Matt's place, right?
Yeah. That Siesta, Matt's.
Dude,
And I just remember like us being like, because we were like, there were precious few bands we had played with at that point where we actually wanted to be in the room while they were playing. There's a lot of bullshit, a lot of like straight up metal bands.
Yeah.
And you guys were one of the first local examples of like something that was like a little bit could see beyond, like saw like the fucking posturing of like you were a fucking post metal band, you were post hardcore, whatever. Like cooler. You were a cooler band than those other bands, and we thought that was sick. And I just remember us going back and forth after our sets, and then I remember you. It had to have been you, because fucking Derek wouldn't say something like this. He was just like, "All right, let's get off each other's dicks, man."
Yeah. Totally. I've said that more than once. In those like post game, like, your band's sick. No, your band's sick.
Stop. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Like, this is like your ability to like that you can see beyond the situation, because I know what it's like when I really am conscious of when it's like. Okay, I'm just following the leader right now. We're fucking like we're this is stupid. I know what it's like when you get like, I'm just really excited. I'm really stoked, and then the other person, because there's like these techniques like mirroring, that shit where like you're talking to somebody and I start like touching my. This would be more if we were on a date or something. Where if I start going like this and then you start doing the same thing, it's something that happens. It's a tendency of people. I don't know if yawning is related to that, but yawning.
Mirroring, for sure. Mirroring. I've seen people get together in couples, then they start to speak alike because their cadence kind of like. They start to get comfortable with how something's being said, and they know that if they say something that way, then it's going to have the similar result. Like that's crazy, man. I haven't looked into any of that psychology shit, man. That's wild.
It's up there, but like it was. I think I started looking into that because it was literally like I was like wanted to know that this girl liked me, was talking to me. And I was like, well, she plays with her hair a little bit when she's talking to me. So I like look, plays with hair.
I saw this thing on ITV the other week. Did you ever hear that fucking The Streets album?
No.
It said if she plays with her hair, she's probably keen.
Oh, that's amazing. I wish I'd heard that.
Hair well regularly, so I reckon I just might be in. It's so good, dude.
Was he in? Or was it?
He ends up dating her, and then they get in a fight later.
Okay, that didn't work for me. It's
a great album. Man. Sometimes I get a reaction from people where they think I'm being smarmy because I'll kind of like point out that it's kind of silly, like the dialogue that's taking place, and they think I'm like being a fucking dick,
right?
And I'm like, we both know that. It's like,
first
come on,
all,
let's talk about like what's your favorite pizza, man? Like, let's talk about something cool. Like,
first of all, I think it's like, I don't know. People need to be able to get banged up a little bit in conversations. Like, like I'm not very good at. I have a couple friends of mine who I work with who are like the kind of like because I guess I like I can joke around, but these guys will like sarcastic joke around like they mean like. Lucas has a good example, like like the New York like tough guy thing. You're like, hey Mike, why don't you need a ride back home? I'm gonna go and bang your mom anyway. So if you want to, like I don't actually really know. I kind of suck at reacting to that kind of shit. Yeah. But like that kind of like fucking the razzing thing, I kind of fucking hate it. But I think that being able to like even if I don't know how to take it, it's like even if I don't know how to respond, I should say I know how to fucking take it. And not be offended. I think it's useful. I think I got better at that with like listening to Eminem. It's like so much of what he said is like not actually, he didn't mean most of it. That was probably really frustrating for him, actually, because he was like playing this character, so he'd just like talk a bunch of shit. But I think that's when I realized it's like, you know, people who have thick enough skin and ability to forgive.
Oh man, a healthy ribbing is like the best, man. Yeah. The other day we were driving out to Waterloo for a show, and I'm like, this previous show we played, it was like shared drum kit, but then the kit that was being shared didn't have a hi-hat stand because the main guy important. Didn't use a hi-hat.
Oh fuck you, man!
So but he didn't mention it. And then the other guy like made do with something, like he figured something out. And Piers is like, no, we're like a fucking hi-hat band. Like literally all we do, we just play the hi-hat and these guys yell. Like that's essentially all this is. Like we really need that.
That's a huge omission. Yeah, to like not mention.
Right. So we ended up getting one, whatever. And then so yesterday we're on the way to that, or on Saturday we're on the way to that show in Waterloo. And like I've got my phone going over the stereo and everything like that, and I'm like, I turn it down and I'm like, fuck, Piers, you won't believe this, but this show, none of the bands use hi-hats either. And he's like easy to kind of
to dupe.
Yeah, just a little bit. He's like this look on his face is
ready
just
to
like
be pissed, man.
He's like, are you fucking kidding me? And I'm like, how long can I keep it going? And I'm like, I'm just fucking with you, man. I'm like, I like giving you a hard time. And he's like, fuck you, you know? Like, he's just like, I made him feel that heat in his body. And he's like kind of annoyed, but like he like got through it. And then like, you know, an hour later, you're like, right, I got you, you know, like that kind of thing. Or like, I love fucking, just like giving Chad a hard time when he's drunk and he like can't form sentences, and I'll keep asking him things, and like, I don't know, like it's fun to like, especially if you know people well, like you're right, like it just, there's a huge value in being able to get like banged around a little bit in dialogue, and like kind of being able to take a couple of hits and be made fun of and be self-aware, like yeah, that type of shit.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was like mean-spirited, it's like fucking, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, cool. Whatever.
Get over your fucking pity party. I was reading about that chick. See, someone I love to interview is the girl from Laurier, who got. There was just recently a debate that didn't end up happening at Laurier. This chick got in trouble because she played like. She's like a student, or not a student teacher, whatever you call it, like a PhD student who like teaches like classes. What the fuck is it called? I went to fucking university.
I know it's like
I can't remember.
It's like not a TA. Like
TA. No, I think it was TA.
Is it TA? Got it.
And like, you know, she played a clip that included Jordan Peterson talking, and if you've watched or listened to Joe Rogan, I'm sure you know who he is. So. The mere mention of, you know, big deal, huge fucking controversy. More recently, she was going to have this
Meanwhile, this guy's probably been in the curriculum in that video for like however long, you know, and then but now but
now it's a hot button thing because of more recent things. So it's
like, I know it's like, oh, this is before, this is fucking. These are the Harvey Weinstein movies from before he was a creep, so it's cool. Or like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is a Pantera album before Phil said white power. There's no end, but like anyway, this girl was gonna put what's her name, Faith something, I forget. Anyway,
this does vaguely ring a bell, but I'm not sure. I don't know
Faith something. Yeah. She was like on the Rebel, the media, the conservative media outlet. But anyway, it's like flirting. This chick is like flirting with white supremacy. It's like, and I read I read at least 2 Vice articles to back this up, to show how serious I am.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Whoa.
Yeah.
Where's the Vice library? Where's the Vice library? Where do you get this?
I clicked on one of the links of the first Vice article to go to another Vice article. But I don't know, everything's like, it's all fucking on there, all the sources, and it's like, whoa, this is fucking, I wouldn't invite this chick, but like this girl, whose name I've already forgotten who I was talking about, who's the Laurier person, invited her to speak. She didn't end up getting to speak because like the
protests and shit.
Protests. Somebody pulled a fire alarm. That's what caused it to not happen. Anyway, why am I bringing this up? Oh, just like that's an alt-right thing. They like that guy, girl, Tommy Lauren or whatever. She's like fucking the blondest, like prettiest flower ever. And she's also conservative.
All right.
And she gets into it with rappers and and you know, it doesn't go well. And she's like 25. She sort of seems like she's an inexperienced moron. But anyway, it's like
looking for an identity.
Like the pity party. Stop with your pity party. Everyone, you got to be coddled for everything. Like,
I see.
Anyway, I think I just wanted to get that out there.
Yeah. I mean, there's aspects to that I agree with. Like, you don't want to be. If you go through your life constantly seeing yourself as a victim, it's not going to go well for you or anyone around you. It's going to be a total bummer. Yeah. Now, that being said, like, there's a major societal issues that need to be addressed, and there are people that have been victimized by societal oppression.
Yes.
And so to deny that and just be like, get over it, is the stupidest fucking shit ever.
Yeah, get over it is kind of a bit simplistic, I think.
Yeah, I'm really talking more about, like, just in day-to-day life and interactions with like work and your collaborators or whoever it is you do stuff with. Like, if you can develop the ability to like take some punches from them and give them back, the work will be better. Like, everything's better if you can kind of like know people aren't walking on eggshells with each other, but just on an interpersonal level. Like, on a societal level, I can't fucking talk about that. I have no fucking clue, but
right, exactly. I think that's that's one of the things with anyway, I don't want to get too much into
I know. But,
And that's where things got left. Thanks for checking out the Jack Chats podcast. Be sure to follow us if you haven't yet. You can do so either on YouTube, SoundCloud, or iTunes, however you're listening to us right now. Funny how I say us, it's really just me. But that was Mike Crossley. Thanks, Mike, for being on the podcast. Next one will be June the 11th will be the release date. So please check that out, and we'll see you next time.